Imagine a queen so captivating that two of the most powerful men in history risked everything for her favor. Was she a cunning seductress, brilliant strategist, or both? Cleopatra, a name shrouded in both admiration and controversy, remains one of history's most enigmatic figures. But how much of what we know about her is true, and how much is shaped by the propaganda of her enemies? Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, has been immortalized as a symbol of beauty, power, and scandal. Born into a dynasty of Macedonian Greeks, Cleopatra's reign marked the end of an era for Egypt and the beginning of its subjugation under Rome. She was a polyglot, a scholar, and a ruler who fought fiercely to protect her kingdom. Yet, much of what we know about Cleopatra comes from Roman sources, accounts riddled with biases aimed at vilifying her. Cleopatra's life was a tale of political intrigue, forbidden romances, and audacious gambits. But behind the sensational stories lies a deeper truth about a queen who defied conventions and wielded her intelligence as her most potent weapon. Today, we're peeling back the layers of myth to uncover the real Cleopatra. Why is it so difficult to separate fact from fiction when it comes to Cleopatra? For one, most of the surviving records about her were written by her enemies, particularly Roman historians like Plutarch and Cassius Dio. These accounts were often laced with misogyny and xenophobia, portraying Cleopatra as a manipulative temptress rather than a capable ruler. Roman writers sought to discredit her not only because she was a powerful woman but also because she was a foreigner who dared to challenge Rome's supremacy. Moreover, Cleopatra's portrayal in later art, literature, and media further muddied the waters. Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra painted her as a tragic lover, while Hollywood films transformed her into an exotic seductress draped in gold and jewels. These dramatizations often overshadow her political acumen, reducing her to a figure of scandal rather than one of substance. Another challenge lies in the cultural lens through which Cleopatra's story has been interpreted. For centuries, Western historians have viewed her through a Eurocentric perspective, ignoring or downplaying her embrace of Egyptian traditions and her significance as a ruler who straddled two worlds. Modern historians face the daunting task of reconstructing her narrative from fragmented evidence, much of which has been distorted by centuries of bias and myth-making. To truly understand Cleopatra, we must sift through these layers of propaganda and cultural reinterpretation. What emerges is not just the story of a queen who captivated two of Rome's greatest leaders, but also that of a visionary leader who fought to preserve her kingdom against insurmountable odds. Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a family of Greek origin that ruled Egypt after the conquests of Alexander the Great. Unlike many of her predecessors, Cleopatra embraced Egyptian culture, learning the language and adopting local customs, a move that endeared her to her subjects. Her path to power was anything but smooth. At just 18 years old, Cleopatra became co-ruler with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII. However, a bitter power struggle ensued, culminating in Cleopatra's exile. But Cleopatra was no stranger to adversity. She returned to Egypt with a plan, one that would involve the might of Rome. Cleopatra's first significant political gamble came in 48 BCE when she aligned herself with Julius Caesar. According to legend, she smuggled herself into Caesar's quarters wrapped in a carpet. While the story's dramatic flair may be exaggerated, it underscores Cleopatra's audacity and charm. This alliance was mutually beneficial. Cleopatra needed Caesar's military support to reclaim her throne, while Caesar saw Egypt's wealth as crucial for funding his campaigns. Together, they defeated Ptolemy XIII, securing Cleopatra's position as queen. Their relationship also produced a son, Caesarion, whom Cleopatra claimed as Caesar's heir, a bold assertion that would later have significant political repercussions. Beyond the personal connection, Cleopatra's alliance with Caesar restored stability to Egypt and solidified her rule. She also embarked on a series of economic and administrative reforms, ensuring that Egypt remained one of the wealthiest regions in the Mediterranean. She revamped trade networks, initiated public works, and invested in the agricultural sector, actions that bolstered Egypt's economy and reaffirmed her role as a competent and visionary ruler. Her time with Caesar was also an opportunity to display her cultural and intellectual prowess. Cleopatra accompanied Caesar to Rome, where her presence caused a sensation. She brought with her a retinue of Egyptian scholars, treasures, and even exotic animals, dazzling Roman society with the splendor of her kingdom. However, her sojourn in Rome also stirred resentment and suspicion, as many Romans viewed her as a threat to their traditional values and political stability. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar demonstrated her ability to navigate complex political landscapes. She was not merely a passive participant in their alliance but an active strategist who leveraged her resources and intellect to achieve her goals. Her partnership with Caesar set the stage for Egypt's brief resurgence as a regional power, even as it sowed the seeds for future conflicts. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Cleopatra found herself navigating a treacherous political landscape. She aligned herself with Mark Antony, one of Rome's most powerful leaders. Their partnership was both romantic and strategic. Cleopatra provided Antony with resources for his military campaigns, while Antony offered her protection and a chance to expand her influence. Their union scandalized Rome. Antony's marriage to Cleopatra was seen as a betrayal of Roman values, fueling propaganda that painted Cleopatra as a manipulative foreign queen. Together, they envisioned a new empire that combined the might of Rome with the riches of Egypt. Cleopatra's boldness was evident in her ability to negotiate from a position of strength, leveraging Egypt's resources to demand recognition and respect from Antony. Cleopatra and Antony's relationship was also marked by grand gestures. They declared their children as rulers of various territories, an act that symbolized their ambition to create a legacy that merged Egyptian and Roman cultures. Cleopatra's influence extended beyond mere political maneuvering. She was actively shaping the cultural and geopolitical narrative of the ancient world. Their ambitions, however, brought them into direct conflict with Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir. Octavian's propaganda machine went into overdrive, portraying Antony as a traitor and Cleopatra as the seductive force leading him astray. This narrative not only undermined Antony's standing in Rome but also fueled public opinion against their alliance, setting the stage for a final confrontation. The rivalry between Antony and Octavian culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Cleopatra's fleet, a formidable naval force, played a crucial role in the battle. However, a combination of strategic missteps and internal betrayals led to their defeat. The loss was devastating, not just militarily but also symbolically, as it marked the beginning of the end for both Antony and Cleopatra. Retreating to Alexandria, Antony and Cleopatra found themselves cornered. Octavian's forces marched on Egypt, and their options dwindled. According to historical accounts, Antony, believing Cleopatra had already taken her life, fell on his sword. Cleopatra, however, continued to negotiate with Octavian, hoping to secure a future for her children and her kingdom. Her final days were marked by a mix of desperation and defiance. Realizing that Octavian intended to parade her as a trophy in his triumph in Rome, Cleopatra chose to end her life on her own terms. The method of her suicide, traditionally believed to be the bite of an asp, remains a subject of debate, but its symbolism is unmistakable. By taking her life, Cleopatra denied Octavian the satisfaction of her public humiliation. Cleopatra's death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and Egypt's independence. Octavian annexed Egypt, transforming it into a Roman province. Her son Caesarion was executed, erasing the last vestige of her lineage. Yet, Cleopatra's legacy endured. She became a symbol of defiance and an enduring figure in both history and myth. Cleopatra's fall was not just a personal tragedy but also a turning point in history. Her death signified the end of Hellenistic Egypt and the beginning of a new era under Roman domination. Yet, in her final act of resistance, Cleopatra ensured that she would be remembered not as a conquered ruler but as a queen who refused to be subjugated. One of Cleopatra's most iconic moments was her orchestrated entrance into Tarsus to meet Mark Antony in 41 BCE. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a spectacle designed to awe and captivate. Cleopatra arrived on a golden barge with purple sails, rowed by silver oars. She reclined on a gilded couch, dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, while attendants dressed as Cupids fanned her and burned exotic incense. This entrance was Cleopatra's way of asserting her power and charisma. She knew Antony admired grandeur and was deeply fascinated by Greek culture. By presenting herself as Aphrodite, the goddess of love, Cleopatra positioned herself not just as a queen but as a divine figure. The imagery of wealth, beauty, and divinity was irresistible, leaving Antony enchanted. But this theatrical display was more than mere vanity. It was a calculated political move to secure Antony's alliance. Cleopatra understood that Egypt's survival depended on Roman support, and she played her cards masterfully. Her arrival in Tarsus marked the beginning of a partnership that would change the course of history, for better or worse. The meeting in Tarsus also set the stage for the scandal that would later envelop Antony and Cleopatra. While Rome viewed her as a dangerous foreign influence, Cleopatra's boldness and intelligence in orchestrating such a moment underscore her skill as a diplomat and strategist. This was Cleopatra at her finest, a ruler who understood the power of image and wielded it to her advantage. Cleopatra's life was a masterclass in resilience and strategy. Despite the challenges she faced as a female ruler in a male-dominated world, she held her ground and shaped the course of history. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony, while controversial, were pivotal in her fight to preserve Egypt's sovereignty. Yet, Cleopatra's legacy is often overshadowed by the myths and biases perpetuated by her adversaries. She was more than a seductress, she was a scholar, a diplomat, and a ruler who wielded her intellect as effectively as her charm. Her story is a testament to the complexities of power, the perils of ambition, and the enduring allure of one of history's most fascinating figures.